Shalom, my name is Desi Kristina Sagala from the Tarutung State Christian Religion Institute, Department of Christian Religion Education, Group F, Semester 9. Today, I will bring a sermon for us, which about being an example, which is written in Titus chapter 2, verse 7. In all things showing yourself an ensemble of God, work inside doctrine showing uncraftness, gravity. Talking about role models that according to KBBI, the definitions are something that must be imitated or good to be imitated, and the usual role models are parents to already have a lot experience. In this letter, Paul apparently not only reminds parents to be role models, but young people must also be role models, just like Titus, who was still young at the time. He was still 16 years old, and he still had an unstable personality at the time and was still young. Paul reminded Titus to be an example in a positive way, in which Christ was a very default charity, was considered undesirable, and culture very, very low for the Romans. Because of this, the slogan of the Cretans and liar, lazy, and rebels. Titus was counseled to be an example person. He must first do God and also be to live what he has taught. Because wrong preaching and the testimony from God's people will give people an opening to serve God. Even though young age, namely adults and youth, is argued cyclists a period identifying crisis. In these times, a person's personality is still unstable or confused about finding his identity. For the sake of solidarity with their peers, they are able to anything, maybe even things that are against their principles and conscience. In the not surprising that at this as many are caught up between action. But even though it is like that, it turns out that Christian youth should be different from people who don't know Jesus. It is to be an example for the believer in word, in action, in love, in faithfulness, and constant. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. About this example, some experts say 5 criteria can be said to be an example. Some, which mean that in our country this means good, that is to the best. The index fingers, that is don't only fears humans but also fears God. Middle fingers with the longest fingers means to be an example of friends. The ring fingers with is to be an example because the first one has become the best, fearing God in not only afraid of humans, then about appearance, and finally he else get to crown of light, the ring fingers that always wearing a ring. Little fingers that it try to slowly lower the little fingers. The other fingers must move too. The point is that being a role model, even if it's small, must have an influence on others, and not said above, being an example means having a positive influence on others. To say the Lord, Amen.